Hey everybody, welcome. Glad glad you could all show up today. Appreciate that. I'm Brian Jones, and I'm a trainer in heartfulness. And I really appreciate you taking the time so we can spend some time together. And I see people are logging on. If you want to make any comments in the chat or introduce yourself or just say hello, I can see the chats from YouTube and from Facebook. So on Instagram, not seeing those, but YouTube and Facebook, I can see that. So please feel free to uh, send me a message. Thank you. All right. So I'm feeling really, really good today. Really good. Today's a very interesting topic, one that I bet you we could all relate to, and that topic is making friends with the ego. So I'm going to get into that in just a little bit, but first I see some people are saying hello. Anusha, hi, Anil, VJ, Charu, MC Maitali, Urmila, welcome. I'm so glad you're here today. So, all right. Does anybody out there have an ego? Yeah, we all have ego. But we think about it, I think, we have a funny way in which we think about ego. It's such a touchy subject, right? Because usually we think of ego as someone showing off or bragging, but that's really, to me, that is like the smallest aspect of ego. Ego is far more vast than that. So let me talk about the first three things that represent ego. These are just three. There's probably so many. You can add your own. But when I think about ego, here's the three attributes of ego. I think I am better than others, or I do work better than others. That's a big one. The second one is much more prevalent, I feel, and more subtle. I defend my knowledge and opinions and beliefs. Wow. Now let's think about that one for a second. If you're at work or school, or you're in a situation and someone sort of questions you, questions your opinion, questions your decision making, what happens? Oh, you feel this wall starting to come up inside, and at first you don't want to say anything, but that wall it's our ego wanting to defend ourselves. We want to defend our opinion, our body of knowledge. And this is something that happens to us quite frequently. So it's the second one. The third aspect of ego is I want to be recognized. I want to be recognized. And this one is really, this is a tricky one, because sometimes we don't think we're wanting to be recognized, but we're in a situation where we actually deep down, we do want to be recognized. So what I'm going to do today is this. I'm going to enlist the help of a fellow Quora writer. And her name is Ankita Sinha. And if you read different writers on Quora, you may have come across her. She's extremely popular. And she was our guest yesterday. We had a special program with her for our local Cleveland Meditation Center. And she came on, and it was just great. So I'm going to enlist her help today via her book, and I want to show you this book. This is called A Soulful Quest. A Soulful Quest by Ankita Sinha. And you can get this on Amazon, and please support her. I recommend you read her. Now, let me tell you a little bit about why I'm going to read this and how I came across her. I came across her by accident on Quora. And I read one of her posts, And at first, as I'm reading it, it's like just an everyday sort of situation that she's just talking about. She's at work, or she's walking down the street or something. And by the end of this short, brief story, she goes into these amazing observations about this ordinary situation. These incredible observations of, and I refer to her, I say she brings us the wisdom of everyday life. And I think this is one of the reasons that she's so popular on Quora platform. So I want to read a few things by her today, because she has, in such an honest way, come to terms with her sense of ego. She not only recognizes it, but she just puts it all out there, and it's something we all relate to. So let's start off with this. So this is her chapters are really short. Her chapters are only about a page and a half. So what I do is I love this book so much. I keep it on my desk, and every day I just pick it up and I open up and I read one or two of these short little chapters. So this chapter is called, "Is It Always Good to Be Self-Loving?" Okay. Self-love says, you are perfect the way you are. You are lovable. Trust yourself. You deserve all the good things. You are worthy. Be yourself. In a book by Louise Hay, she talks about mirror work, wherein you have to stand in front of the mirror and talk to yourself, pampering and telling you all the encouraging words. Of course, the mirror is harmless enough. The problem is when the above statements change into, you are worthier than the other. You deserve things better than anyone. You are more lovable than anyone. You are superior. Self-love is good till the time it's about you and only you. The problem is when special begins to mean better than others. A superior person, that's bad. It does not make you anything better, but drags you down deeper to hell. Oh my gosh. She just gets to the point there. So I'm going to read probably a couple more during the course of the next 10 minutes or so. So when we think of ego, we think about I, me, mine. I, me, mine. I, me, mine. Okay. Now, so what is ego? What is ego? Do we really know even what it is? Well, we all have to have one. So first, I'd like to say the ego is not bad. There's nothing wrong with ego. We have to have an ego because ego is the gravity that holds our identity together. Ego is the gravity, the pull that holds our sense of I-ness, our identity, who we think we are. It holds it together. So ego is very, very important. It's the gravity for our perceived existence. Okay, now that's one thing. Now, here's an analogy. And you've heard me give this analogy before in different ways. But if we think about a hurricane has a couple of parts. First, it starts building as a storm, a tropical storm, and it's gathering moisture and heat from the ocean and bringing it up into the air, and it's, colliding with cooler air, and it's creating all of this interaction. And because of the way the earth turns, all right, this starts getting into motion. And when this storm starts moving, up above. It starts forming an I. And so we've got all of this movement starts spinning around, spinning around, spinning around. And the more that spin, the more that movement moving around, the more defined the I is, the eye of the storm. Okay, so let's think about this from our personal perspective. If we think about this storm as our daily thoughts, our daily actions and reactions, our mental actions and reactions, when we're in situations, and these can be long term or they can be, short term, that cause our thought to become really engaged with our emotions. Our thought starts spinning round and round more and more and more. It keeps looping back around to the particular incident. Okay? And that thought starts getting more powerful, more powerful, more powerful, more powerful. And now it keeps looping around so fast we can't get it out of our mind. And the more that gains power and the more movement it has, the more defined the I is, our I. Right? You see what I mean? It's such a simple way of understanding it. But now, so when we're in an emotional situation, our sense of ego, or I, me, mine, becomes very active, very predominant, because we go into defense mode. We go totally into defense mode. Now, think about this. Okay. It's not so much that this hurricane forms, okay, by gathering this energy and all this movement, that all of a sudden this I, or very clear, defined eye of the storm, is developed. What's actually happening, in my opinion, is that this movement is revealing that I. It's revealing that center. Okay, so it's not that the I is really always there. When does that eye of the storm come into existence? It comes into it, it reveals itself when there is movement and more focused movement. It reveals itself. So the eye of the storm, we can, where is it? Can we say where it is? Now let's think about our ego. Can we say where it is? No, but it's like a principle of nature. It gets revealed when we're in a situation of intense and focused movement. Now, if we think about our day-to-day life, at night we go to bed. And it's such a wonderful thing. We lay our head on the pillow. We can't wait to just let go and disappear. We just can't wait to not exist. Right? And today everybody complains because they can't get a good night's sleep. Why? Because this movement doesn't let go. It's actually having an impact on the mind. It's training the mind to think, I have to be in motion, I have to be in motion, I have to be in motion. And whenever that motion increases, the sense of I-ness increases. Now, so we lay our head on the pillow, we go to bed at night. And yes, for a few hopeful hours, we disappear and we don't exist. We don't exist. Is there ego? what happens though? Morning comes and something in us stirs. It stirs. Our awareness stirs. And that stir is movement. And that movement creates the sense of I. So basically, ego is intrinsic to our awareness. It's always there, but we can only see it when our awareness is there. So now, this being the case, then the way to make friends of our ego is through a practice of letting go. And that practice I would call meditation. Now, it doesn't always have to be meditation, but the practice of meditation, especially in my opinion, heartfulness meditation, is really great at this. Why is this important to make friends with our ego? Because we are now engaged in a process. We're consciously engaged. Our awareness is engaged. Our awareness is saying, now I'm going to sit still. I'm going to settle. And I'm going to now become more of the witness. And so in meditation, when we go deeper in meditation, even when awareness is there, the ego remains subtle, tame, still, quiet. It's not announcing its I-ness. So when we consciously implement a practice like this, the ego starts to become regulated. We're, in effect, taming the ego. It's like the lion tamer, Eventually open up the jaws of the lion, stick his head in there, no fear. We're doing that with our ego. That's how we're making friends with our ego. Okay, so I want to read another chapter by Ankita Sinha. Her book, please buy it, A Soulful Quest, on Amazon. Okay, this one is a great example of how we want to be recognized in such an odd way. Well, let me just read it. You're going to get this. Okay. So this chapter is called Biggest Friendship Killer. Ankita says, I see myself as a caring person, but somewhere between care and affection I have made many relationships complicated, and many have ended too. Now that I observe myself a lot, I see the problem. Observe, witness. Yesterday, I was thinking about a friendship I had at work and how my extra care and affection killed that relationship. She was my friend, and soon we became good friends. Many similarities connected us. Some days later, she shared a part of her life with me, and it affected me badly. I could feel her pain. I wanted to shield her, to be with her always. Back in my mind, I wanted to fill the gap in her life. Soon, I had started the role play of a protector, someone who is a superwoman and can take everyone's pain. But she never asked me for that, and that created lots of problems, in my mind especially. I always ask her before I go out, but She didn't even bother to ask. Why can't I prepare this sheet for her? It will help her a bit. Oh, but last time I did it, she never said thanks. Without realization, my role was now changed to a victim. Superfluous superfluous expectations of mine spoiled things slowly. But for me, it was her fault always. Until recently, I recognized it wasn't her fault, it was always me. The biggest friendship killer in a relationship is not giving space. Wow. We all need our little world. Everything needs room for expansion, be it a flower or a friendship. Wow. So this is a great example of how subtle the ego can be. You know, we have a very caring thought for someone. We want to help that person. Someone just wrote me yesterday about this from Quora. They wrote me asking me the same situation. They wanted to help their friend through their hardships. So, we have really great intentions sometimes, but, sometimes we create that story and then we insert ourselves into the story. And not only that, but we insert the other person into the story. And now we have the protagonist and the antagonist start to emerge, is that neither person really wanted to be in that story, right? And all of that was the play of our ego. So ego is very tricky. I, me, mine. Very tricky. So again, making friends with ego has a lot to do with a practice that we voluntarily take on to consciously let go, sit quietly. We let the emotions settle. You know how the motion, the wall of the storm creates the eye? So what we're going to do is we are going to dissipate. We're going to let that motion settle. And when that motion settles, the whole thing dissolves. Where's the ego? Where'd it go? You see? It's really, it's just such a simple and brilliant way of making friends with our ego. And so I want us all to experience this together today. We're going to meditate together in a session of heartfulness. So we'll start that in a second. Let me just take a break and say hello to Judy, MC Vivek, Chandrani, Champa, Ayan, Sarita, Chaitra, Infal, Alini, Balakrishnan. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. All right. So I hope you're all ready to transcend the ego. Well, we'll do it together. Okay, so we'll get rid of the I, me, mine, and we'll make it a we, and then we'll just get rid of it once and for all. What do you think? Hi, Ajith Kumar. Wow, welcome. So let's get comfortable and let's utilize this process of heartfulness meditation. And we're going to see a great example of this right now. We're going to experience it together, how we're able to still the movement and dissipate that sense of I-ness. And then what we'll do at the end is we will consciously settle in that and bring that forward into our day, that stillness. So that's what we're going to utilize this process. So let's sit comfortably, please. Okay, let's start by taking a slow, deep breath in. Let it go. And feel your body relaxing. So I'd like you to feel your arms relax. Just feel the weight of your arms in your lap. And let your shoulders drop down. And now let's very gently get our awareness out of our head and let it gently drop down to the area of our heart. Put your attention on your heart. Relax and feel your heart area is softening and becoming lighter. Now let's make the thought that we're just resting on the source of light that's already present in our heart. We don't have to see a light, just know that the source of light is already there in our heart. And feel the source is inviting you homeward. Let's stay with this thought. And that's all. So now take a moment and observe how you're feeling. Invite this deep peacefulness to expand within you. Now I'd like you to include your friends and family in this peaceful meditative state. Just bring them into it. Now let's include the entire world in this peaceful feeling. Just feel it expanding and embracing the entire planet. Okay, so whenever you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Okay. Iverson Banks Bay says, Happy belated Father's Day. Thank you, Iverson. Nice to know you're on here. Radha, thank you. Sarita says, Fresh divine impulses. Yes. Sarita, fragrance of life. Yes. Peaceful meditative state. Yes. Nina, Chaitra, Deborah Neary. Hi, Deborah. Sarita, Shyam, Radha, Bachu, Rantita, Ajit, Yogesh, MC. Okay, everyone. So nice that we can all be together today. And I hope this really was helpful to get an understanding of the ego and how subtle it is. So again, I have to, just because I love it so much, I have to put in one last, one last ask. Support Ankita. She's really an amazing person. And this is her book. You can get it on Amazon. It's called A Soulful Quest. It's like $7. It's not very much money. So A Soulful Quest by Ankita Sinha. And I want to thank her for having these wonderful stories to help show us the subtleties of ego. So, okay, everyone, that's it for today. And so nice to be with you. Look forward to seeing you next week. And until that time, as I always say, stay with the heart.